Hey, what's going on, YouTubers? All right, so this is more of a traditional one-on-one for those getting into it, new to traditional archery or new to archery, period. It's setting our brace height and knock point on traditional bow, self bow, recurve, or long bow. And what I've got, I've got two pictures running. I'm gonna try to do the best I can to keep these in frame. We've got blacktail elite recurve, and I'm going to I just shot this on a video on a chronograph test, but we're going to talk about a little bit of tuning, and we do that we can start that with brace height and knock point. So just for starters, most bowyers and most bows that you get, it'll come with a little manual. Carrying and tuning for your new blacktail recurve is what I've got. And the couple important things in here, it talks about takedown assembly care and stringing the bow. And two important things in here is the brace height, setting it, and then the suggested brace height, and then a string knock, suggested string knock point. And just to be clear, the brace height is the distance between the string and the edge of the sight window. Okay, let me turn this around. The edge of the sight window, or the throat, or the deep grip. And then the knocking point is where your arrow is going to latch, typically under. Old school Howard Hill knocked his arrow over it, thought he could get arrows off the bow or off the string quicker, shoot quicker. We're going to focus on knocking our arrow under the knock point. So this is a knock point on there, and I'm gonna knock my arrow on there. So what I do is, especially with a new bow and even a new string, if I'm changing my setup, is I use the little brass pinch on knock point, and then once I get that set, I come back in after shooting and everything's fine, and shooting well, I come back with a serving thread. You can use serving thread, dental floss thread. I think that's pretty much about it. Cover it with a little bit of super glue. I don't use black so much. I got in the habit of using a red serving, and the reason I like that is, when I'm in the heat of the moment, here's another string, and I can glance down, and I'm not trying to look for a black knock thread on a black serving. And just for clarification, my bowstring, this one's a multicolored bowstring. Typically, unless you've custom ordered it, that serving is black. So this is the extra protection that's on that string where our knock point will go. So I like red. It's a quick indicator. I can glance down if I'm in a tree stand hunting deer, or I'm moving quickly through the back country and I need to get an arrow knocked. It doesn't take a lot of time and effort. So looking at our manual, let's talk about brace height. And brace height is a major influence on bow noise. A low or high brace height may produce more noise. Typically low, especially on a recurve, you get string slap against the limbs. So in my instructions here, my little manual, I've got a 64-inch recurve, and it says brace height 7.5 to 7.75. So that's typically about right. I know on my longbow it's 7. So what we can do is we take a square. So this is a bow square. They look, they clip on the string. Some of them have a clip up high and one low. This one's a little different. We're going to measure this, and how we measure that is I'm going to go from the deepest part of my grip, and it doesn't matter if you're going the deepest part of your grip or the edge of the sight window, as long as that's where you're measuring from every time. Okay, so I lay this in here 90 degrees, and I'm a string width over, so the inside edge of my string is at 7.5. That's it. I mean, we know exactly where to put it. So if we need to adjust, all right, now this one's already set. If we need to adjust, so let's say you got your bow or you've shot and your string stretched, you can check it. You should have a bow square. The best way to do it, the best way to adjust brace height, or really the only way to adjust the brace height, is to unstring and take the string, and to increase brace height. That means if I want 7.5 worth of brace height for my bow, I need to twist that string up. And what I mean by that is, if you're looking at your string, you can see how it spirals. So I will take and twist that string, and I count the turns. So let's say I count 8 and it ends up being a 1/4 inch too high. I'll come back and twist it down to, I'll untwist to lower the brace height, maybe 4 twists. So try to keep a mental count of that check. So brace height, we're going to measure from the bowstring to the edge of the sight window, or the deepest part of our grip, okay? And then adjusting it by either adjust it up, so we want to increase the brace height. We're going to twist the string. We're going to twist the string, twist it with the spin or the twist. And then to decrease brace height, so to lower that brace height, we're going to unstring and untwist the string, okay? Pretty simple. Now I will tell you, on a new string, you need to set it. You're going to shoot it. Then things are going to get funky. Check your brace height until that string settles in and finishes stretching. Okay? Pretty straightforward. Now, nocking point. So getting back to our nocking point, and this brass one. So the brass nocking points may be the only way you want to go. And if you're going to do that, invest in some nocking pliers, and they're already pre-cut to handle different sizes. I don't know if you can see those holes in there. And then you can come back later and do your thread. If not, you're going to be tying thread, shooting. It's not right, untying it, adjusting it. So I always start with the brass, get it where I want it, and then I come back and tie it. So it says, based on here, that I should start at 5/8 above center. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my bow square and I'm going to snap it on my string. And you want to make sure you're not over clipped. So I don't want to over clip that. I want to make sure I'm in the string grooves. That's where the measurement is. And I'm going to slide this guy down to where it's lightly on my wrist. Okay? Let me get this in the frame for you. All right? And then what I like to do is I either go to the center of my rest plate, or back into where I've measured it for my brace height in my hand groove. Okay, and that measurement is what we said earlier, 7.5. So, all right. So I'm looking at that. Then I come up here, and I got a zero marker. And then they recommend I go 5/8, and I know you probably can't see this, but that's where I started. Then I shoot 3 under, and I have a high brace height, nocking point. So I have actually worked mine up, and I'm at 7/8. So my arrow sets at 3/4, and I clip it on. I shoot, make my adjustments, and then, like I said, once I get done, I use the pliers. I take it off. I mark it with a silver Sharpie, a wax pencil, something I can see so I know where I'm going. Tie on my thread and go from there. So now, when we talk about nock point, a lot of guys, they get out there, they get to shooting, and you get a nock high or you get a nock low. So when I release that arrow, if my arrow's traveling up and the tail end's kicking up, so the nock is kicking up, I know that it's a nock point problem. So up and down, the up and down arrow flight is controlled by the nock point, and then porpoising. I'm sorry, left and right. Let me take that back. Nock point will adjust the porpoising, okay? And then if it's oh man, I lost it. Train of thought. If the arrow's too high, so that means, let me grab this pencil. If that arrow hits a target and it's kicked up, I'm gonna bring my knock point down. I'm gonna slowly bring it down, just bring it down. And then let's say we take it down too much and that arrow leaves and hits the target, the knock point's low. That means I need to raise it back up so that when we shoot that arrow and we get a little porpoising, depending on how it hits that target, we want to make that adjustment. Okay, and then the last thing that I'll close with is that you get through all that and you notice that you got your knock left or your knock right. So and you're looking at the target, and this doesn't have anything to do with your brace height or nocking point. This is what got me tongue-tied a while ago. Is brace height and knock point will take care of the porpoising. The brace height will. I'm sorry, the nocking point. Dadgummit. Now, if your arrow is left of target, so the point's in where you want it, but the knock is left, that means your arrow is too stiff. Okay, so your setup is too stiff. So you need to increase the tip weight or drop down in spine, which that's a whole nother animal on tuning. And then if your arrow is point in but the knock is right, then your shaft is too weak. So you could lessen the point and test. And there are many ways to change the spine of an arrow, just so you know. So anyway, brace height, to recap, is the distance from the string edge to the sight window or the deepest part of the grip, the groove. And then, you know, it helps with noise, having proper brace height. The nocking point is we want to, you know, place the knock point high, maybe a little higher than what's recommended or right at that, and work our way down. And then obviously if it's porpoising, porpoising, and we're going up, then bring it down. If our knock point's down, bring it up. So anyway, I hope this was helpful, and I didn't stutter or catch myself too much. Anyway, until next time.